Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Welcome back to another Stamp Around UK video hop, and this one is airing on the 1st of November 2020, and our theme this month is geometric. So geometry is all about shapes and angles and things like that. So I've decided to make an impossible box which has got quite a few shapes and angles to it. But before I show you how I made this and how it works, please do have a look in the description bar below and go and visit everybody else who's in this video hop as well. There are quite a few of us dotted around the UK, and you absolutely won't be disappointed with the projects that you'll see. So sit down with a cuppa, or like me, with a little glass of wine. I know it's a bit naughty, but I'm getting into the Christmas spirit, so do go and have a look at all my crafty friends videos as well, and you will not be disappointed. I'll put all the links below, as well as a link to all the products that I've used today, and a link to my shop where you'll be able to buy the products that I've used today as well. So the way this box works is, if I open the ribbon, which I'll never manage to tie again, so I'm not going to tie it again on camera, the lid is part of the box and it opens up like so to reveal the box inside. So that's where all the different angles and all the special way you cut it comes into the geometric part of our topic this month. So without further ado, I'm going to get on and show you how I made this. I'm just going to pop that out of the way because I'm certainly not going to try and tie the ribbon again on camera. So the finished dimensions of the box actually are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 by 3 5/8 inches, which is 7 by 7 by 9.2 centimeters. So it's a decent sized box. So to make it, you're going to need initially a piece of cardstock which measures 11.5 inches by 10, which in centimeters is 29.2 by 25.4. So there's a bit of scoring that we need to do, so we'll start off by doing that. And I should really tell you that you'll need some pieces of designer series paper as well. So you'll need 4 in each size, so you'll need 4 which measure, let me think now, 2 5/8 by 2.5 inches, which is 6.7 by 6.4 centimeters, and the smaller pieces measure 2 5/8 by 7/8 of an inch, which in centimeters is 6.7 by 2.2. So we're going to put those on last, and you'll see why when I make the box. Normally we would put our papers on beforehand, but we're not going to do that. Now this is Scotland and we are in October, and it's a kind of grey day here, so we do have a bit of shadow, and it's into the mid to late afternoon here when I'm filming, so I do apologise for any glare. So rather than having the bottom of my cardstock in view, I'm actually going to keep the top in view so that hopefully we avoid a bit of glare here. And I'm working with real red cardstock, so the score lines on the 11.5 inch side or the 29.2 centimetre side are going to be at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4 and 11, which in centimetres is 7, 14, 21 and 28. And then we're going to turn it round to the 10 inch side, and we're going to score at 2 3/4, 6 1/4, 7 5/8 and 9. And in centimetres that is 7, 15.9, 19.4 and 22.9. So on that last score line, you want to flip your card over and just score down that 9 inch or 22.9 centimetre score again, flip it back again and just give it an extra score, because this fold and this top part here are going to be doing a bit of work when we put the box together. So I'm going to get rid of my scoreboard just now, but we are going to need it again just in a little while, and you'll see why just in a minute. So fold and burnish on all your score lines. Just making sure that you keep your cardstock straight as you go, and just be careful when you fold that little 1/2 inch section over, although we are going to remove a few parts of that. And then when we come to the 11.5 inch side, these squares are going to form the bottom of our box, or if you look at it from the right side. But we're going to fold and burnish the part for the bottom squares, and then this next score line up after the larger section we're going to fold in exactly the same way. And then, like we would for a milk carton, we're going to fold that middle section in the opposite direction, and then in the usual direction fold that section there. So what we've done is we've folded this way, then the opposite way, and then that way again. So when you're finished, you've got this mountain and valley part here, just like we would if we made a milk carton. So we're going to make a few tick marks. So we need our scoreboard again, and we actually want them along this score line here. So it's the second score line down from the top. So these two sections here we're going to fold over like so, and I'll just give it a little burnish so that it stays flat on my scoreboard. And I'm going to bring my scoreboard back in, and I'm going to get a pencil, and we're going to make some tick marks at the halfway point in these 4 sections here. So the tick marks we're going to make are going to be at 1 3/8 of an inch, and I'm just trying to get that right in the centre of that groove. And then at 4 1/8 here. Then the next one is at 6 7/8, and the last one is at 9 5/8. So in centimetres that would be 3.5, 10.5, 17.5 and 24.5, and that is us finished with our scoreboard now. So I'll get that out of the way, and then keeping these sections folded over, turn your cardstock round so that you've got these tick marks along the bottom for now, but they definitely are at the top of your bag, so we're going to turn it back again shortly. But what we want to do is draw a faint pencil line from that tick mark to the corner here where that next score line is. So from the very tip of that pencil mark to the corner of that score line there, like so. And then again from the tick mark here to this corner here. So I'm just making a mark so that I can see where I'm going to draw my pencil mark to and from, like so. And you do have to be quite precise with this, because that determines how neatly it meets in the middle here. If I just show you a box, a taller one that I made before, you can actually see that they fit much easier together. So just take your time when you're doing this part, because it will make a difference once your box is finished. It doesn't matter too much because you'll probably have ribbon over the top of it, but you don't want it to gape too much. So just take your time when you're doing this part here. And the last one from the tick mark to the corner, just like so. And then keeping these sections folded over, we're actually going to do some cutting. So you need to make sure that you hold it firmly, because what we're going to do is get our scissors, and we're just going to do one diagonal cut across here, because this is the end of the box. But for the rest, we're going to cut down that score line there and cut along here, because essentially what we want to do is put these holes in the box here, because that's what helps the lid to close once the box is all put together. So again, just take your time and cut from that tick mark along the pencil line just to the corner where that score line ends, and that's the only one that's different, because from here on we're going to cut down that score line there to this score line, and then cut along that pencil mark from the tick mark to that corner like so. And again here, down the score line to this score line here, and along the pencil line that you just drew from that tick mark to the corner like so. Oops, not quite matched those up, but that's okay. And then the last one, down that score line here and along the pencil mark to there. So that's all the holes made in our box, but before we open it up again, the last part we want to do is, again, holding these together quite tightly, we want to just cut down that score line there and in on that score line there like so, and we're just going to take that section away too. So that's us made the holes in the top of our box, and I'm just going to take that little furry corner away. So that's our holes made there, and again, if I need to neaten this up I will do, so I'll just try and get that little furry bit away, and we'll leave that for now. And then the only other bit that we need to remove is this section here. So I want to remove the score line, which is why I'm turning it over, just so that I can cut up the side of that score line. These are the sections on the bottom of the box that are going to join it together, and then I just want to cut at an angle like so and at an angle like so here. Now I've managed to just make that a little bit uneven, so I'll just neaten that up a bit. There we are, and this is what we're left with once we've done that. Then what I want to do is just angle a little bit on either side of this top small flap at the top, but I don't want to take the angle right up to that score line, so I'm just going to stop short of it and leave a little straight edge there, and you'll see why when we put the box together. And then the last thing we need to do, and I'm going to get my big scissors to do this, is we're just going to cut up all of these score lines on the bottom, so that we've got the separate flaps for putting the bottom of our box together. So just up to that first score line on all of those score lines there, and then we can neaten it up once the box is finished if we've got any overhang. So straight up each of those score lines to that score line there. Okay, so this is what we're left with. These are the flaps that make the bottom of the box. This is the body of the box, and these flaps are all going to work together to make the top of the box do its magic. So we want to join the box together, and we're going to put a piece of tear and tape along this flap at the side just here. Oops. So I'm just going to turn it round just because of the angle that my tear and tape's already been cut at. And near the score line but not on it is where we're going to pop that, and then I'll just use my ruler to get a nice neat edge on here as well. We'll use liquid glue to stick this part of the box together when it comes to pop the top together, but that's the very last thing. So with these sections along the top here and the narrow sections on your right, before you join the box together, you want to fold this section over towards yourself. So just give it an extra burnish. That's the one that we scored 2 or 3 times anyway. So give it an extra burnish to make sure that it folds down. And then we're going to fold that over, and we're going to join these sections of the box together like so. So I'll just remove the backing on my tape here, oops, and take some of the tape with it. Just pop that in the bin, and then just carefully, again, don't rush with this part, just join those sections together like so, and that's my box put together. So this join here, I want to keep that at the back of the box, so this is going to be the front of my box here. So I want to pop in what will be the two side panels, just like so, the back panel and then the front panel, so that we've got that flush edge on there. But I'm just going to add a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue as we go, and I'm just going to make sure that these stick down so that there's no gaping, and bit down that side there. And then again, just making sure that I'm putting my back flap over before the last one, which is the front flap, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around all the edges on there like so, but make sure that none of that actually comes out. Yeah, I did manage to put some adhesive on there, but I'll take that off with my adhesive remover once we're finished. So if you have any overhang, then we can sort that later. I just want to make sure it's all stuck down for now, like so. And then the last part we want to do is just to join these sections together here, but it won't join flush. So what we want to do is fold that top down, and it will be happy enough to go, and then it lets you see how far round that section there is going to go. Now it's not going to be perfect. Let me just give that an extra fold. There will be a little bit that you need to sort, but I am going to join this together as best I can before I actually finish putting the box together. So I want this to meet up as close as possible, and I'll just take that extra glue off once the box is together. So I'm just going to hold that for a second or two, like so, and whilst I'm holding it, I'm just going to pop that down and over the top of the box. Oops, and it's come apart again. Didn't hold it for long enough, so I want to make sure that that corner meets as neatly as I can get it. There we are. It is a bit awkward, and it's not going to be a perfect fit, unfortunately. It probably could have been a little bit of a better fit than that. And we're really not getting that to stick together. So I'm going to pop that down again and just make sure that I push that corner in as far as I can, because I've got a little bit of a gaping part there, which I didn't really want, but never mind, I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'll pop the lid on my glue, and I'll get my my adhesive eraser just so that nothing sticks to my grid paper. There we are. And then what I'm going to do, this join is at the back of the box anyway, so this is the front section here. And then once the glue's had time to dry, just work that a little bit like so, and it'll go together nice and easily. I'll just try and get that to pop in a little bit neater. And then we're going to add our designer series paper now. So I'm going to use my Stampin Seal, and I'll pop the top pieces on first. So I'll just turn them all over, and this I think I said is real red cardstock, and Heartwarming Hugs is the designer series paper that I'm using to decorate it with. So I just want to make sure that I centre those on each of these sections round the box. Probably could have put that up a little bit, but never mind. Oops, think I'm coming to the end of my seal actually, so I might have to change that. I think that's kind of keeping the pattern true if I pop that on. There we are. So I'm going to stick these sections on here, and then I'm going to stick my paper onto the bottom of my box as well, or the body of my box as well, and I'll come back to you once I've done that. And that's all my designer series paper stuck on. So this is what we're left with. We've got the DSP panels on these parts here and the bottom part of the box, so that meets neatly, and you've got an even border more or less round the box. And again, just keep working that lid to make sure that it's nice and loose. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping now. So my greeting I stamped in real red using this Thinking of You at Christmas from the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. It's a cling stamp set and it's got lots of lovely Christmas greetings, so I plan to be using that a little bit more. So I've already got my greeting mounted on a block, and I'm just going to stamp it there. Nice crisp image, I really like that. And then I'm going to cut that out using, or punch it out rather, using the 1.5 inch circle punch, like so. Just making sure that that's quite even. There we are. And then I'm going to get a scrap of real red cardstock, and I'm going to punch out another circle using the 2 inch punch. All my punches really need a good clean, like so. There we are. It's a little bit furry around the edges there, so let me see if I can just tidy that up a little bit using my adhesive remover, which I also used to tidy up the bottom of my box where I had slopped a little bit of glue onto. Stampin' Up used to sell those, but they stopped. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue to pop my sentiment onto that red cardstock. I'm just going to stick that down flat. There we are, like so. Just make sure that that's well stuck and definitely in the middle. I think that looks okay. And I decorated that with some of our lovely sparkly real red, or red rhinestone jewels, and I just popped them where I thought they would look pretty. So one there, and one there, like that. And then I added a couple of dimensionals onto the back. Oh gosh. And I just want to make sure that I've got one either side, like that, and then pop that on over the top of my ribbon. So if I get those out of the way, the ribbon that I used to go around my box is our lovely red, real red sheer ribbon. It's absolutely beautiful, and it does have a little shimmer to it. So I'm hoping I've got enough on this reel. So starting at the bottom and then bringing that up, and what I'll do is I'll pull this a little bit further, I think, just to give us a little bit more. Oops. And then crossing over like so. I'm just going to bring that down and round like that, and then I'm going to pop that through just to hold it in place, like that. And then I'm going to cut off the other end, oops, so about there, and then hopefully just tie a bow so that the recipient can open it nice and easily. I probably could have done with a longer end on here, but I'll redo it after the video with a slightly longer piece of ribbon. So we'll leave it like that for now. and just cut that off like that too. I'm not going to worry too much about my ribbon and how long the tails are, just so that you get the idea of the box. And then all I did was popped my sentiment on the front of my box over the top of the ribbon, because we've got the dimensionals either side of that. Oops. It's a good idea to put it on straight though, and again I'm just trying to get an even gap here and an even gap top and bottom here, and you can sort the ribbon to your liking afterwards. And that's my box made. So hopefully that's not taken too long. Slightly different paper. I think I prefer this paper, but I don't dislike that one, and I will tie the ribbon again on the top of that box off camera. So I hope you liked that, and I hope I haven't kept you for too long, because it's quite an involved project, but it's lovely once it's done, and I love the way that these boxes open and close. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to check the description bar below and go and visit everybody else in the hop. So happy hopping, and I'll see you again very soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.